Well, they finally did it. I'm voting Republican. Out of all the crazy shit that I have seen this year, even the last 2 months of this year, the fact that a girl who is mourning the loss of her father cannot post a tweet on Twitter is probably the most disgusting. So her father in question received a call. Him and another officer showed up at a house, knock on the door. The guy inside the house opens the door, shoots them both instantly, killing them, and neither officer was even, they didn't even have the chance to pull their weapons. They were executed. And then when this girl posts this tweet with pictures of her dad saying, like, I'm going to miss you, you're a great person, it's so sad nobody else is going to be able to know who you are, see you soon, Black Lives Matter. Yeah, they go on there and they harass her, and somebody decides that they're going to complain that her hashtag Blue Lives Matter is racist, and she has to take her tweet down. So that's where we're at. The First Amendment is now regulated by a bunch of terrorist assholes, and they are killing people left and right. The two officers who were killed in Texas, the guy did state that he called in order to kill cops because he hates cops, and that was the whole intent of him ambushing these officers at the front door of his residence. If that's not fucking terrorism, I don't know what is. Meanwhile, Jessica Doty Whitaker, the girl who was killed for saying all lives matter in Indianapolis, yeah, her Facebook page is basically being raided by Black Lives Matter, where they are making rude comments, beyond rude comments, obscene comments, and threatening the family. You can find actual examples of that on thecollapseexperiment.com, where I found every photo I could get my hands on of these interactions on the Facebook page. They are disgusting. Only look at them if you really want to be pissed off. So that's where we're at. People like me are beyond fed up with this bullshit. I'm not the only one. Black Lives Matter has gone well beyond what happened to George Floyd. They enjoy painting murals of this guy and creating memorials while destroying memorials to other people who actually accomplished something with their life. Think of it this way. At one point in George Floyd's life, before he went to prison, he was part of a home invasion where he pointed a gun at the belly of a pregnant woman while a group of other men robbed her house. Do you think that woman wants to see his face plastered all over the country? That's awesome that you're thinking of the victim. So while Black Lives Matter is out there making their demands, they're not negotiating, they're not saying, hey, this is what could possibly help the black community. They're like, you will do this or we're going to burn this motherfucker down. My bank still looks like this. So my wife and I just found out that a house that we have been looking at, well, the financing fell through for someone else. So we're going to go check this thing out. It's got 15 acres, a lot of space. It is more towards the center of northern Michigan, and we are seriously consider buying it. And I think I think if we do move, it's probably long overdue. And the way that things are going, I hate to say it, I am tired of living in a democratically run shithole. And this year has it's proved one thing for me. It's that as long as you scream, kick, and cry loud enough, then the politicians will listen to you and not the majority of the people who pay their fucking bills. And that is what is pissing me off. We have a rule of law. You know, we have these things in the books that are supposed to be, equally mandated towards everyone, and nobody appears to want to abide by that. You know, there's a social contract here that says, you know, if you decide to block a highway, regardless of whether you are protesting, that act by itself is illegal and you're putting other people at harm. You should probably go to jail or at least pay a fine. And we don't see that happening. Black Lives Matter was allowed to go downtown, and not only did they smash a bunch of windows and loot a couple of the stores, but then after the stores boarded up because they were afraid of having more damage done, the city was like, hey, if you want to spray paint and graffiti and do whatever the fuck you want downtown at the expense of the taxpayers and the businesses that are keeping this city alive, go ahead. That's cool. You know, we're not going to hold you accountable for what the fuck you're doing and the amount of damage that you're causing other people who keep this entire community, this society that we have built and tried to grow over the last 20 years alive. Somebody agrees. So that's where we're at. That's where my wife and I are definitely heading. And I don't know if that's the near future. I don't know if that's going to be in the next year or two, but you know, the idea of my kids going to Kalamazoo public schools, which still have an insanely high dropout rate, even with the Kalamazoo Promise, which, to summarize, as long as you graduate from Kalamazoo public high schools, you get to go to college for free. And people are still not staying in high school. And insanely high dropout rate. When I was at Valley, KVCC, you know, we had like the first batch of these Kalamazoo Promise kids coming in the school, and the majority of them were borderline third grade reading, writing level. And the whole idea of like, hey, as long as you graduate, you get to go to college for free. Why? When you don't prepare them for it. And the amount of these graduates, these promise kids that drop out of college is insanely high too. So it's just not worth living in one of these cities. It's crazy. They don't enforce the laws. They let these people do whatever the hell they want so that they can prove to their own constituents, which apparently is not the voters, that they're not racist. I'm getting really tired of that. I've been called racist since I was 5. That's like my earliest memory of somebody calling me a racist. And when you've heard that for 35, 40 years, you're pretty much immune to it. It's like getting the flu every year. Eventually, you get the flu and you don't even know you have the flu because you've had it so much, it doesn't even affect you anymore. That's where I'm at. So when somebody calls me racist, I just don't give a shit. I'm just like, and? Is that the best you can do? What, you don't have any other insults you can throw out there? You just pull that one out of your box? Is that as original as you can come? You obviously don't know me if you're going with that. So, I'm I am beyond over this bullshit. And the fact that Twitter didn't bother banning any of the people that was harassing this girl. Facebook didn't bother banning any of the people that were going to Jessica Doty's Whitaker's Facebook page. That pisses me off. I'm glad I'm not on either one of these goddamn platforms. And at this point, I would encourage our president, just go to Parler. Delete your Twitter account, go to Parler, and teach Twitter a fucking lesson. Because this bullshit needs to fucking stop. So that's it for me. Yeah, voting Republican, and hell, I might as well just change my status as to being a fucking Republican, because at this point, I don't want anything to do with the Democratic Party. I wouldn't consider myself a progressive if this is what being progressive is. Uh, all of these assholes can just go burn in hell. And the fact that you picked Biden as like your best option for running as president, I think that says more than anything out of all the stupid shit that we've seen the Democrats do in the last year. So, yeah, I'm done. I if this was what you wanted, like, oh, well, if this is your attitude, then we don't want you in our party anyways. Well, congratulations, because I faithfully vote. I'm not one of these leftists that just, goes out in the street and cries and screams and kicks my feet around, and then I don't go and vote because I don't think my vote matters, that marching out in the street and getting people killed is a better option. I'm actually going to go out and vote. And guess what? That big R, that's what I'm going to be checking off. Because that's what you fucking deserve. And it's probably going to be better for the country. And I've never voted Republican before. I've never voted conservative. I've always voted progressive. Yeah, it's just, that's where we're at. So having said that, keep on typing. Because that's what I do. I smoke pipes and I know things. Later.